Good morning everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave with your Monday to Friday update for Bitcoin, Ethereum and XRP, and happy Friday everybody. Before I get into it, if you're not already subscribed here, I recommend doing so you don't lose my channel and miss my Monday to Friday updates for these three markets. You're getting my 15 years experience, 10 of which, or a little bit more than that now, as a CMT for free. I'm covering these markets because I've invested in them myself, and I think it's time to keep an eye on them on a daily basis because I have extremely bullish analysis and I'm going to want to know when to sell. So you're going to find out too. Bitcoin first is moving higher. In New York, it's 11:45, so we're still in the morning, so it remains to be seen how this session is going to close. But it so far is making new highs above what was resistance at 38,500. I'll leave that as resistance, change it to support if the current session for 1st of December can close above. If we then see a pivot form, we might then have greater bearish divergence between price and RSI. We'll get to that in a minute. Price has been moving sideways with a slight upward bias for a couple of weeks or so, overall with declining volume. So this is a consolidation that has relieved some extreme conditions. Here's the overall declining volume, which is typical during a consolidation, but this consolidation has an upward bias. While price is consolidating with an upward bias, on balance volume is tracing out a range. I'll keep an eye on this for a signal. This consolidation has pulled ADX down from very extreme. It's now nicely below 45, so getting ready to set up for a new signal. Stochastics, not quite touching overbought. It hasn't really been swinging from overbought to oversold during this consolidation, just nearly overbought to just above halfway, so it's just about nearly overbought. Let's expect a downward swing within the consolidation sooner rather than later, which may end when stochastics reaches just above the 50 mark. This consolidation has brought RSI down from deeply overbought, nicely in neutral territory. It's exhibiting double bearish divergence if price develops a pivot. So Friday's an upward session. If we see Saturday, Sunday, one or the other, move lower, we're then going to have a price pivot formed. Once we have a pivot formed in price and a corresponding pivot in RSI, I'll look at those points and see if there's bearish divergence. RSI is a lot lower than it was previously, so if a pivot develops, we're going to have very strong triple bearish divergence. And if that happens, that's going to tell me we're looking for a sharper pullback. It's going to be a bit deeper to resolve that bearish divergence. But it's really important to wait for that pivot to develop first, because if you don't, then sometimes that divergence just disappears. Price and RSI both go on together to make new highs, and what was previously divergence just doesn't follow through with any downward movement. So really important to wait for the pivot to develop. I learned that one the hard way over many years. I'm making a little change here to the Elliott Wave count for Ethereum, and I may change it back. I was looking for Minuet Wave Y yesterday to be an expanded flat, A, B, C, and I was looking for C to move down to the log function of a 0.382 Fibonacci ratio at 1876.56, but it might not get there. It looks like Minuet Wave Y could be considered continuing sideways as either a running contracting or running barrier triangle. You cannot have a triangle as the sole corrective structure in a second wave position, but it can be the last structure in a multiple combination, a double or triple combination. Triples are really rare, but double combinations, not that common, but not very, very rare. So this could be what's happening for Minute 2. I'm going to be completely open to relabeling this correction as it continues. And this is another point about Elliott Wave corrective structures. There are more than 23 possible corrective structures. If you include all of the possible combinations, doubles and triples, and all of the different things that can be unfolding within them, and all the different kinds of triangles. And so when a correction starts, you have to be really open-minded and flexible and willing to change your Elliott Wave count as the correction unfolds. The idea during a small correction like this should absolutely not be on trying to identify what structure's unfolding and so how all of the little movements within it are going to move, The focus really should be on identifying when the corrective structure is complete and the larger trend is ready to resume, because the trend is your friend. I'm just going to keep an eye on looking for a complete structure for minute 2, and when it's done, I'll be expecting minute 3 of minor 3 upward. One more thing I want to point out. A lot of people are going to say, why can't you just label it as a triangle? It could be a fourth wave. Well, I wouldn't want to label a fourth wave counterpart to the second wave. The second wave is too brief. And expanding out to see what happened before, it can't be a fourth wave counterpart to this second wave, because if this is the fourth wave, it's overlapped first wave price territory. The third wave hasn't moved up high enough yet to allow room for the fourth wave to unfold and remain above first wave price territory. So I can't label this 1, 2, 3 triangle for 4, because 4 may not overlap wave 1 price territory, but it absolutely will fit as a possible double combination, but I may very well relabel this again in coming days. Along with that double combination for the Elliott Wave count for Ethereum, there may be an ascending triangle unfolding. 2/3 of these break out upwards, so I'll expect an upward breakout, but 1/3 of them break out downward. We need to see a close above the blue resistance or blue support line to have confidence that the triangle's complete and we've got a breakout. When we do, I'll then calculate a target using the length of the base of the triangle and add that to the breakout point, and that's how you calculate a target for triangles. So I want to see a close above resistance at 2,400 to have confidence that this possible ascending triangle is complete and we've got an upward breakout. A little bit of an increase in volume today, but overall as the triangle continues sideways, volume is declining. That's normal behavior for a triangle. On balance, volume continues in its range. ADX continues to decline. There's no clear trend at this time for Ethereum. Stochastics still in neutral territory, a little bit aimless, kind of just going sideways. Overall, using that model, you'd expect a downward swing from stochastics until price reaches support and stochastics reaches oversold, but if we're going to get an upward breakout soon, we may not get that. This consolidation has brought RSI right down into neutral territory, still above the 50 mark though. There's no bearish divergence. If we see an upward breakout and then a pivot develop, I'll be looking for bearish divergence between price and RSI to identify if we might be about to get a sharper, deeper pullback. The Elliott Wave count for XRP also remains pretty much the same as yesterday. I'm still expecting a little second wave correction. If I've got it wrong, it could be over here, but it kind of looks like the sideways movement of the last 3 sessions might be a little B wave. Maybe it's a really tiny little triangle unfolding in here, maybe a combination. But I still need C to move below the end of A, but 2 to not move beyond the start of 1. So a new low below 0.5945, but not below 0.5746 is expected for this little Elliott Wave count for a little second wave correction before a third wave at 5 degrees up begins. A little bit of sideways movement. XRP is finding resistance, unable to break through so far at 62 cents, and it may find support at the 50-day moving average. So it's being squeezed now between resistance and support here. And we need to see a breakout before we can have confidence in the direction of the next little trend. As price moves sideways, volume is declining, and on balance, volume is in a neat range. It's nearing support, so this could assist to halt a fall in price and hold price up. We could be about to see either an upward swing or an upward breakout from XRP. A little bit of sideways movement has pulled ADX right down from extreme territory, nicely in neutral territory. There was no bearish divergence after RSI reached fairly deeply overbought. It's down below 50 now. That's fantastic to see for XRP. RSI and ADX together setting themselves up to indicate a new trend. Let's see what direction it's going to be in. I'm expecting it's most likely going to be upward. That's it from me today to end the week. I hope everyone is looking forward to an awesome weekend.